Hey class, so we're in part 5, merchandise control and presentation. Merchandising controls and report analysis. Controls are used as a means of monitoring performance as well as the current status or sales and inventory amongst other things. Control standards. Control involves measuring actual performance against a goal or a standard and then reacting to the causes of the deviations from that goal or standard. This is a three-step process. Step 1 is establishing a goal or a standard. Step 2 is measuring the deviations of the actual performance from the goal or standard. And step 3 is reacting to the deviations. Control allows decision makers to respond to problems before they become critical. Control standard is a reference point or a benchmark by which you can measure your performance or your retailer's performance against. Plans or goals are standards. Standards are generally based on comparable prior performance. Standards can also be either internal or external. Internal standards gather information from within the organization. Such information can be the percentage of sales increase or decrease for all stores. External standards is data gathered from external or outside of the organization. Your industry standards are going to be your information that is typically gathered by trade associations for a specific category or sector. Penetration is the measure of the performance of a sole business unit as a percentage of the aggregate performance of all similar business units. Now, in order to know if a control standard is valid, it must be a comparison to a standard that is based on the similarity of the standard that is being measured. So in layman's terms, it pretty much has to be apples to apples or oranges to oranges. So the same thing needs to be compared. A standard can be validated by comparing performance to multiple standards. This can reveal problems that would have otherwise been overshadowed by comparison to a single standard. Deviations are discrepancies between actual performance and a standard. A deviation direction is expressed by negative values and positive values. Negative values to deviations are less than the standard. Positive values to deviations are greater than the standard. The percentage of deviation formula. Take your amount of deviation, divide that by your standard, and multiply by 100 to get your percentage of deviation. Control objectivity. Controls can be qualitative or quantitative in nature. Qualitative controls measure performance descriptively. These are going to be subjective. So one person's opinion can differ from another person's opinion, making it a little bit harder when dealing with performance measures or control measures that are qualitative. An example of a qualitative control would be a customer satisfaction survey. Quantitative controls are going to measure the performance numerically. So this is going to be controls that is derived from like your hard data. These controls will be objective in nature because regardless, the figures will be the same no matter the opinion of the individual calculating the figures. Quantitative controls reduce emotion in communication by providing data. So everybody's going by specific data, hence that emotion that would otherwise be there is reduced. Control intervals and control levels. Controls can be established at specific time intervals, such as hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, seasonally, or annually. The frequency is based on the likelihood and or significance of the deviations from the standards. Multiple time intervals can also be used. For example, sales are controlled by week, month, season, and year. Controls are established at the corporate level along with plans. They are used by managers to monitor performance. Reports. Retailers use various types of reports to monitor sales, inventory, and profitability. Report formats vary from one retailer to another. Reports compare actual performance to standards, like last year's, and plans. For defined business units, such as a store or a category of merchandise, for specific time periods, such as a month or a year. Common reports are your bestseller, inventory position, and monthly sales reports. Buyers use reports to make strategic merchandising decisions, such as reordering, transferring, or marking down merchandise. Exception reports include only major deviations from standards, and it bypasses minor ones, making the report easier to read and more efficient. Good deviations should be included.